Oh, geez. We need some water in here.
It'll be all right. I think
All
I'll
right,
do it.
we're live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, hey kids, dreamers, and jammers. Welcome to another Park Streamers Hangout. I am here with my co-host Bob and Cordy. I hope you guys are ready for an interesting evening. As you can see, we're doing this a little different tonight. We've got a studio that we've been able to use for this Park Streamers Hangout. So I'd like to preface this with things may not go as smoothly as we anticipate. There may be a little bit of hiccups here and there, but we're just going to power through them. We'd like to say thank you to our producers, Jack and Zach, makes it great because all we have to do is yell "ack" and both of them show up. So, but before we get started, let me introduce my good friend Bob, Barry Place 28. Bob,
Thank
let everybody
you.
know where they can find you.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to our fancy new show here. Oh, we're on this camera now. You can reach me at BarryPlace28 on all my social media channels. So that's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, X, and I think that's about it. So that's where you can find me.
All right. And we've also got Cordy in California with us here in studio. First time getting to say something like that. Cordy, would you let everybody know where they can find you?
Yes, Cordy in California on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and I think that's it.
TikTok?
And TikTok.
And
yes,
TikTok.
and TikTok.
All right.
Oh, yes.
And I am Theme Park Casual. You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, all of them at Theme Park Casual. So, as you guys probably have heard, this past weekend was a very big weekend for the Disney community. There was the big D23 Expo, the ultimate Disney fan experience is what they tagline it
That's
with.
what they call it. That's right. Look at that.
And our own Bob, Barry Place 28, was able to visit on Saturday. So we're going to let Bob take over and give you his thoughts on the day that he spent at D23.
Absolutely. Well, it was a great time. I wasn't sure what to expect because this is the first time that I was going, and I took my daughter Ariel with me. And to be honest with you, and I kind of shared this with Cordy and Danny as well as some of the my fans, but I had to go through jumping through hoops just to buy tickets. And then once I got the tickets, I was like, okay, well, that's done with. And then, well, now you got to make reservations and get onto a virtual queue when it comes to the actual panels. And I applied for the panels and didn't get any panels. So I thought, well, this is not starting off to be a good thing. Then you had to make reservations or a virtual queue for the stores. I tried to do that as well. That didn't work out. I got up at 4 in the morning, didn't get anything for the store. So I thought, you know what, Ariel and I are going to go to this. We're just going to have as much fun as we can. So we got there, and the first thing we encountered was a line that was probably about, at least a third of a mile long that we had to walk through just to get up to the front of the convention center and get through the security. Once we got through that, the day started off great. And if we can go to that first photo that you were just starting to show there with the hat. So this was an amazing statue that they actually put together. This statue is done by Swarovski, and they had little Swarovski crystals all throughout the D23 and on the hat. It was really, really cool. It was roped off, so you couldn't get too close to it, but we were close enough. We got to take this wonderful photo. So it turned out to be really, really nice. And then if we can go to the next photo, we actually had the opportunity to do something that I didn't think we were going to get to do. And that is we actually got to meet the cast of Zombies 4. And my daughter is a big, huge fan of zombies. So we actually waited in line, and here's the experience was. They said, okay, you want to stay on the standby line? You go down this way. So we stood in line for that line. And then next thing you know, we were told that we were standing in the standby line for the standby line. And we were like, what are you talking about, the standby line? Well, you may not get to see the cast at all. Thankfully, we got in and we did get to meet the cast. And as you can see here, my daughter was super excited because Meg Donnelly was there. And then, of course, the other two cast members for Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires. And so it really started off the day well. We did have to wait in a bit of a line. And so I appreciate, my chat for hanging in there because we definitely were, waiting to have this little bit of magic and fun But as you can see, it turned out great, and we were really, really happy that we got to take photos. And the nice thing was that the cast was there, and they kept asking, "Are you okay? Do you want to keep going?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's do it." They did such a great job of getting people through the line that we were able to, everyone was able to see the cast members. So that was really cool. And then we decided, hey, let's just spend some time on the floor. And so basically, we were going to go from different booths and areas, and just experience it for the chat. And what we didn't realize is that we were going to stream all day long and stream for like over 9 hours. If we can go to the next photo, please. I think we have. Nothing. All right. I love it. Oh, there we go. Hey, Avatar upside down. All right. Sorry, we got some technical issues here. But so Avatar, they did have a area that promoted the whole Avatar films. It was basically like a mini walk through Pandora. It was really, really cool. We didn't get the chance to walk through this. Some of the lines were so long that we just didn't have the opportunity to actually go through everything. But there you can see Avatar. This was the front of it. They actually had costumes and different things from the films that you could experience. And I thought that was really neat that they put this together. And then the next photo. So they had Disney on Broadway. And again, this is sideways, but that's the giraffe that they would use for the actual stage show. Zazu was there too, and I think that's the next photo, if we can bring that one up.
I'm sure we're going to get a photo any second.
Anytime now.
So how was it with the lines? You were saying that the lines were outrageously long.
Mm-hmm.
The virtual queues were snapped up in seconds.
Right.
How does, I guess for me, I would view that as a very big miss for Disney when you've got your ultimate fans, but they can't get into things.
So that was my biggest concern, right? I mean, here we are. We can't get into any virtual queues. Are we even going to see anything? Any panels? Are we going to see any shows? And that was my biggest concerns. I spent all this money for this one day because I also bought some extras for Ariel and I, like the backpack and the shirt and the hat and all that stuff. And the only thing we really had to show for it was our little badge that we got. Oh, I did buy the lanyard though, and the lanyard was really, really cool. It came with a nice little Mickey lanyard on the front, and then it also came with a pin. But that was our Saturday pass right there, everyone. So we did have that, but I will say they tried to make it fun because they had this pin adventure, and basically if you went to the different booths and you signed up by showing this QR code, you could try to do this pin adventure. And basically you got pins from Disney Plus, and you got pins from what else? The Disney Channel, and just different areas. So, and they were all free. But again, you had to stand in line for these things. So some of the lines went really, really quick, and some took a while. I will say, though, that the lines did go a little bit faster than I thought. But the one comment I did hear from my dad, because he did watch most of the 9-hour stream, and that was, man, you had to stand on a lot of lines, and they were a lot longer than I thought they'd be. Mm. So for the people viewing at home, it probably was a little bit longer. I know that one of the stores that we were eventually able to get into was like the Walt Disney Company store from Burbank. And so when we got into the store, or got in line, it took us a while to get through the line, but once we got in, it went pretty quick. The one thing I learned, though, from this year, and there we got some pictures there. So that's Ken Potrock. He's the president of Disneyland. We were actually in the Imagineering area, and it's funny, he happened to pass me, and he said something like, "Oh, excuse me," and I go, "Ken?" And he turned around and we started talking. I said, "Hey, I met you last year at a luncheon. We were talking about Disneyland Forward." So that was awesome. We got to meet him. I also got to meet his son. I introduced him to Ariel. So he said, "Oh, there's my son's over there." So talked to his son. I did pass out our stickers for Park Streamers Hangout to his son, and I believe to Ken as well. And then can we go to the next photo, please? Okay. So one of the other things they did, and I know the picture sideways here, everyone, but this is Minnie's costume that they started putting together. And what was really neat is that they were trying to show you how they actually put all the different pieces of the costume together. And this is how it starts off. And they go, okay, maybe we'll do some of the fabrics here. We'll add some green and orange, and maybe we'll, try to, feather it out. And then from that photo, if we can go to the next one, please, they actually show the next one, which is the next stage. And they actually put a vest on it. And now they put a little more color, and they obviously put, more frill into the dress. And this is like their second stage. And then they go into the third stage, if you can go to the next photo. And that is this one. And this is the final dress they came up with for Halloween. So I think it was neat because you had the costume designers there that talk about how they put everything together and how they, go from, nothing to something. And to me, I got to be honest, I wasn't too thrilled with the way that Mickey and Minnie looked this year for Halloween. But then I saw this, I'm like, wow, this is really neat. Okay, I see how you guys did it. Okay, I have much more of appreciation of what you did and how you did it. Also, in the Imagineering area, we got to see the animatronics. I got to see the holo tiles that, the Imagineer, Lenny, is it Lenny? I think it was Lenny. I can't remember his name. Yeah. Came up with. It's really cool. I'm going to put a short video on my YouTube channel for that, and I got to do it for Park Streamers as well. It was really neat seeing how they demonstrate that. They had an Elsa mannequin that was a robotic mannequin, and I actually did a short video of that. Actually, that's up as of 6 p.m. right now on my channel, so you can check that out. But they had some really neat things. They had obviously the Avengers ride attraction vehicle there. And they also had, I should say, well, let me go back. They also had some really neat things, like they had demonstrations of what they tried to do for other rides. So you know how you go on Finding Nemo's submarines, and they have Bruce, in the water, swimming around. They had a little aquarium there with a little, screen, and how they basically showed you kind of how they did it. And then they had some new things. They had a holographic image that was amazing, and you can go back to my live stream and see it. And it doesn't look as holographic, as it did in person. But they had two pizzas flying through the air, and you're just spinning, and you're like, wow, that is really cool. And I showed my wife to the live stream. She's like, well, it doesn't look very holographic to me. I go, we had to be there. And I know pizzas don't look great, but look at this. And then they had the green alien from Toy Story. And it was so neat in how they might be able to incorporate this into a ride. They showed the transformation of the actual model they made of where the Beast transforms back into the Prince for Beauty and the Beast for the Tokyo ride. Mm-hmm. For Beauty and the Beast, and they actually showed, hey, this is what sold the company to actually do this, this ride and this, section. So it was neat seeing all these different things. I thought it was amazing. And of course, when they showed Paris and the whole model for Paris, they actually showed, Arendelle, but there was some space that was still open, and I was like, what's that? And we're going to get to that later, what's going to be there. So can we go to the next photo, please? Okay, so one of the highlights was meeting Bob Gurr, the Imagineer. This was amazing because we were with Hope, and everyone knows Hope from our channel. She was with her mom, Sandra, and we happened to take a photo for them. And then I was wanting to take a photo with Bob, and well, he started to drive off, and some guy interrupted him and talked to him for about 10 minutes before we could get this photo. But Bob was great. It was so nice meeting him, and it's so awesome to meet a legend, in person like this. So this was a great moment. And then if we can go to the next photo, please. There we go. They had, so where we were with Bob Gurr, they were all sorts of cars from different Disney films and TV shows, from the A-Team to, the Love Bug, you name it. They had the Tron vehicle, but they also had the original parking lot tractor and tram from Disneyland. And that thing is amazing. And it looks like it's seen its time. Those tires are holding up pretty well, actually. But it was really neat to see.
Now, how many remember riding on those trams?
Oh, it was such a blast from the past. And I showed Ariel, because Ariel's never been on those trams before, and she was like, "That's what they used?" It was like, yes. And my daughter's really young, so she didn't have the opportunity to be on anything other than the new trams they have now. Can we go to the next photo, please? Oh, so They're redoing Epic Mickey, the video game, and it's called Epic Mickey Rebrushed. And I'm really happy that Warren Spector is still part of this video game. Ariel was excited to take a picture in front of it. She loves to flash that peace sign all the time, so that's what she was doing right there. And obviously, you got Oswald in the game, so I'm looking forward to seeing this come back out, because Epic Mickey was a great game, but the fact they're going back and redoing it and touching up is really cool. And then if we can go to the next photo. So they had a Pixar area. We have Buzz, and you can go through the next few photos if you want to as well, because we had Buzz, we had Jesse and Bullseye, and we had Woody. But this whole area was dedicated to all the Pixar stuff. So you had, the new TV show they're coming out with, Win or Lose. They were advertising Elio. They were advertising Inside Out 2. So they had a lot of different things that they were showing at the Pixar booth. Now, Ariel, as many of you know, she loves Spider-Man. So I had to take this picture of her pointing back at Spider-Man, because it's just a classic. And she was like, "Can we buy this and take it home?" I said, "No." A little too expensive. This is at the Iron Studios shop. They have a lot of great different statues and mannequins, but that was her favorite. And then we can just keep cycling through some of these photos, if you don't mind. Oh, so we went to Disney's Adorbs. Let me get that right. So Ariel loves Lotso, so they had a Lotso area, so she got to sit on the Lotso couch, and we got to take this awesome photo. And then they passed out Adorbs. I can't even say that. Adorable Adorbs. There we go. They gave us each. There was 2 in a packet, so Ariel was excited to get those.
Did the couch smell like strawberry?
Oh, it did. I'm glad you asked.
Okay.
I almost forgot about that. The couch did smell like strawberries. It was awesome. In fact, they're like, "Go ahead and smell it." So we also got to go to Garner Holt's production booth. And there you can see that's one of the Tiki Room birds that they had there. They also had Grogu. The lady right there, you can't really see, but she's got the blonde hair. Apparently, she was one of the creators of Grogu. And so there he is. And so cute. I do have a short video of that on my channel currently right now. And it's so awesome, seeing him move and make noises. And it was, seriously, it was like he was alive there with you. It was so cool.
So is that what they use at the park? Like, is that the...
Yes. So, and I'm thinking that Garner Holt is going to be responsible for the new Walt Disney animatronic that we're going to be talking about here in a moment. Now, one of the things that we did get to do is we did get to go to some of the stores, because the standby line did open up. Well, little cheat here. I was told by one of our other friends, Jungle Skipper, who we were hanging out with most of the day, hey, if you go at the very last hour to 45 minutes, you can go into the store. And actually, we'll look at, okay, so let's hold on to this real quick. Basically, we got to go in there, and this is the 70th anniversary merchandise. Now, I got to be honest with you, when I walked in and I saw this, I thought, wow, this looks cool, but is this the final version of the 70th anniversary? Because I thought the 70th anniversary has got to be a little more regal than this. And the cast member said to me and another person, well, this is a teaser of what is to come, and it may or may not be the final version of the 70th anniversary merchandise. And we were like, oh, and the manager came up and said, that's exactly what you should say. So perfect. So I'm like, okay, so I don't know if this is going to be exclusive to D23 or not. So I had to buy that pin that you see. Actually, it's right off there, angled at the top there, and that was like a $65 pin, and it has the same Mickey face you see up there with the same type of design behind him. And it turns out, as we're going to talk about a little bit later, that logo is different from what they showed at the park's, panel. So this may be an exclusive to D23, but we'll see once the 70th anniversary, happens. And then I think we had one more shot of that, and they showed the hats. There we go. There are the hats. I didn't pick up the hat because I thought, well, I'll just get one in the park when they have it. And then, of course, they showed the 70th anniversary logo, and I'm like, oh, it might change. So who knows? And maybe they'll sell this. They're selling some of this stuff on the Disney store right now. If you go under D23, and you can buy some of this merchandise, but not all of it. So I did happen to snag one of the Star Speeder 3000s that they had at the show. In fact, I snagged a couple, and yeah, so I didn't think I was going to do that, but I did. And I also picked up this really nifty mug, and it has the Mickey logo on the one side, and of course has D23 on the other side. So that's really awesome. So that's my new water jug. But I couldn't leave D23 without doing something for both of you. So I did get some gifts for you if you guys want to go through them.
Oh,
There you go.
Please.
So you guys can go ahead and open them up and show everyone what you got.
Oh,
all right. Oh. Uh-oh.
I need
A
a
really
bag.
cool notebook with Magic Maker
It's a
sticker.
medallion.
Oh, and then this right here is the guide. So I picked up some maps for you guys.
very
There's
cool.
2 each. And then you'll see if you open up your book, you've got a sticker too. Oh, you got your lanyard on. Look at that.
And we got some medallions.
So they had some medallions specifically for D23, and they actually have, I think, Mickey Mouse on them, like this on my cup. They had Iron Man. They had Toy Story characters, and I forget the last one. Yes, and
A Han Solo minifigure.
yes, Han Solo minifigure. You got 2 for Junior,
Nice.
Casual Junior.
You'll appreciate it.
And what's I can't remember. So it's Mickey, Buzz, and
Oh, I got Venom. Do I
oh,
Venom?
yeah, no, I think it's. Wait, let me see.
It looks like Venom.
Oh, that's Iron Man.
Oh, it's Iron Man. I'm gonna call him Venom.
Yeah, Iron Man, Venom. It's all the
He
same,
called
right?
Venom.
I mean, hey. Oh, and Darth Vader. Darth Vader is the last coin. So those were exclusive to the show. You couldn't get those coins anywhere, and it's crazy because you know how expensive those things are in the park. It was more. It was like, what the heck? It's crazy. And then the other thing is, did you see the sticker that you got in your book?
Okay, let me look.
I thought the stickers were perfect for you guys, especially Cordy here. So she got a red one, and Casual got a black book. And
Aww.
what does your sticker say?
Dreamer and doer.
Dreamer and doer. So they were passing this out in the Imagineering area, and I thought it was really cool. And of course, you've got 2 maps there. But yeah, and then you guys got your lanyard. So
Very
there,
nice.
you got your lanyard
Got
on.
the lanyard.
Well, hey, if you guys are wearing your lanyard,
Exactly.
yeah, I might as well put mine on too. Whoops.
Make it feel like we're at the
D23. All right, there we go.
Well,
So-
thank you, Bob.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hope you guys enjoy your little gifts. Oh, yes, and you got your little Lego Han Solo. So one of the things that I was going to say too is at the end of the store, there was a lot of different things that you could actually go into. They had, it's called Dark Side Arcade, and so it was skee ball.
Darkade.
Oh, Darkade.
Yeah.
I said Dark Side, didn't I?
I caught the live stream at that part.
That's
It was
right.
Darkade.
That's right. Darkade.
But it was
Thank
all
you.
Dark Side from
Yes.
Star Wars themed with red lights.
Right. So you had basketball and you had skee ball, and then if you played, you got this Lego toy that Cordy was just showing you. And so Ariel played several times, and then they had so many, they were like, here, just take some right now. We're trying to get rid of them. So we took some extra ones. So I got one, Ariel got one, I got a couple for Casual Junior, and then, of course,
So you can build an army of Han Solos?
yes, exactly, right? I mean, you can't have enough Han Solos in your
No,
life.
you can't.
But they also had miniature golf nearby. We didn't unfortunately get a chance to do that. They had the publishing nearby. They just had so much up there. But the thing is, you wouldn't experience it if you didn't have a virtual queue for this, store. And so the fact that we were able to get into it was great. They just didn't advertise it. Now they did advertise the other stores. So they said, "Oh, Mickey's Pin Trading is open for the standby until it gets full." Or the Hollywood store is open. So that was nice. They did say that. Also, they made several announcements. If you're going to the Honda Center, you've got a free shuttle. It's going to take you over to the Honda Center. Leave now.
Yeah.
And they probably did that for about a good hour, actually. So I thought that was really nice they did that. I do want to say thank you to Kiki and Luca, though, because Kiki and Luca was there. He was there with his wife and his son. And he did something really nice for Ariel. He actually went to meet the girl who plays Moana in Moana 1 and 2, and he actually had her sign a poster that says to Ariel from her name, and it's the actual Moana poster. I thought that was really cool.
Very
So,
cool.
That's
Kiki and
awesome.
Luca, thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate
Great
it.
job, Kiki and Luca.
Yes. All right. So that's enough showroom floor. If you want to go back and see any of my live stream, you go back to Berry Place 28. You can check it out. It's a nice long 9-hour stream. You can kind of fast forward through it, but we did have some great experiences. And to everyone who took the time to come to my channel that day and give me support because it was a really long day, thank you so much for doing so. It was great, and it was a pleasure having all of you.
So big question, would you go again?
Yes. So I was actually thinking about this, and I was talking to Cordy about it on the way over here. I would go again, but this time, instead of just getting one day, I would try to get at least Friday, Saturday, or all 3 days. The reason why I didn't buy all 3 days is because the 3-day pass was only available, for a short period of time. And the next thing you know, you had to buy 3 passes for each of the days, and it was kind of expensive. So I thought, well, I'm just cut it down. I think next time I would buy the Friday, Saturday for sure. And I would buy the Parks panel, even though it's a lot more expensive. The one thing is, though, and this is what was interesting, is I had sent you guys and I had told my chat what I thought my predictions were for the Parks panel, which we're going to talk about tonight. And I, what was my point here? Sorry, I thought I lost. See, I lost my train of thought because I'm on a different screen now. But the Parks panel, it's something that I think I would definitely want to do. I didn't think we were going to be able to stream it. Apparently, a lot of people streamed it, so that was awesome for them. And it was great because they were able to provide it for us so we could watch it. But the Parks panel is something I definitely want to check out next time, even though you have to pay for it. So with that, yes, I would definitely do it again. I would just do it a little bit differently. And this is my first time, so I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to do. I was really upset in the beginning because I was like, I spent all this money. I can't get into the panels. I can't get into the stores. What am I going to do? And then it ended up working out for most of the show.
So the Parks panel, that was in the Honda Center, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was actually a separate
Ticket.
Mm-hmm. So it wasn't just a
Jeez.
virtual queue or anything like that in a lottery. You
That
actually
was
had
a
to
second, and those tickets were pretty expensive. They could go all the way up to $1,000. So crazy. Now, granted, I think I would have taken the cheaper ticket and sat in the back. I'm fine with that. But I did like how they did the Parks panel. Oh, I know what I was going to say. The Sunday one, the nice thing about the Sunday ticket is that there's some things that they announced on Sunday that they didn't announce at the Parks panel, which we're going to talk about as well. And one of those being the Avatar land, and they showed some concept model for it. So I think that's something that was interesting because they did release some things on Sunday that they didn't talk about at the Parks panel that I would have been like, oh, I want to see that, but if I didn't have a ticket to Sunday. So they do entice you to come to all 3 days. But to be honest with you, we'd spent the whole entire day. I saw the whole showroom floor, so I think I would spend Friday spending the whole day on the convention floor, unless there's a panel I wanted to try to get into.
Right.
And then if I could get into that panel, great. If not, then I would try to get into the panels on Saturday and Sunday because some of them were, I think, a little bit better. So.
All right. So there you have it, guys. That's Bob's take on D23. Seems like it was a good time, even if you didn't get any of the panels that you were hoping for, which, again, for me, that's very strange that they don't have enough capacity to allow ticket holders to get at least one panel. It should almost come guaranteed you get one panel somewhere.
Well,
Even
and
if it's not what your first, second, or third choice, there should be something that you could get. But that's
agree.
just me. I'm the type of person that if I pay for something I need to know that I'm getting something.
Right.
So,
Well, if you guys remember T3PO, for those of you who watched it last week, because I am on that show as well, and I've talked to both you and Cordy about this, but I think what Disney needs to do, and this would make them a lot more money and it would make a lot more people happy, is just come out with a virtual ticket. And I think with a virtual ticket, if you actually purchase a virtual ticket and they record all the panels and you can go back and watch those panels up to like maybe 2 weeks later, and then they shut the server off so you can't watch them anymore, that gives you the opportunity to focus on what you want to see. If there's a panel you want to see now and there's something else playing at the same time, well, no problem. It's already recorded. you go back and see it. And if you're there at the show, you have a virtual ticket too, so that if you didn't get into a panel or you wanted to see something, but you were at another booth waiting in line for something else, then you have the opportunity to go and watch it later. Plus, you could have a virtual store just like the park store where you could buy everything like everyone else is in person, except for maybe at D23 they have some exclusives that you can only get at the show. So if they did something like that, I think Disney would make a lot more money, and it would be a lot better for everyone, and we wouldn't have these issues where people like myself are going, wait, I spent how much money and I cannot get a virtual queue for any panel? What's going on here? So I think if they could do that, that would be great. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't think there would be any sort of a decline, anything noticeable if they did something like that. I don't think the in-person crowds would be much lighter. I think people love to be at the event, with the community, with all the crowds. I think that's, to an extent, part of the experience is being with a bunch of like-minded and people with similar interests, and being able to kind of, you all have that in common, so there's, easy to talk to. People can get into it, have fun with things, and you don't have to feel like, oh, I'm the only one who likes this. Yeah. So I think there would not be a decline in attendance, and I think it would actually bump numbers, like you said, because so many people would be online wanting to see it.
Well, there are still so many people who couldn't get tickets to the show, and this allows them to buy a virtual ticket as if they were still there. Right. And you have people who are overseas or across the United States who unfortunately can't make the trip. So this is a great experience for them to see it. And I think it would be great if they could actually give those people the opportunity to be at the Honda Center with everyone else, even though it's a virtual ticket. And if they could do that, I think it would be a great idea. In fact, I told you guys, I emailed Disney's guest relations services for D23, and I submitted that to them as a suggestion. Let's hope they take it and run with it. So.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. It would have been, and then that way you kind of open it up for more people too. Like if there's more tiers, and that does equal more money for Disney, right? Like, oh, well, you can have this for this much money.
Exactly.
But I think they would sell out regardless, whatever they did.
Well, and think about it, if it's virtual, you can sell as many tickets for the virtual beyond what you sold for the people who are going to the show. I mean, I didn't come up with that idea. BlizzCon did that idea for many, many years, and it was a great idea. And I think that other companies could take advantage of it and do the same thing, like Disney. And this would be awesome if they could do it. So.
Yeah. All right, shall we get to the meat of what we want to talk about? Because we are obviously park streamers. We love being in the parks and bringing you guys with us to the parks. So when Disney has announcements of new things coming to the parks, obviously we're going to be very, very interested in it. The Honda Center, thankfully we had people streaming it. We were under the impression that you could not stream it. And there were people that were saying, well, we're just going to have our phones out until they tell us to put them away, basically. And I don't think anybody was told to put their phone away.
No.
So it kind of was like a surprise for everybody. I think you could see on Twitter people like saying, hey, so-and-so is live. Hey, so-and-so's live. Here's another feed if you want to check it out. And so, yeah, it was kind of a fun little surprise to find out that we don't have to just sit here and read and get, a couple of updates from people and not see exactly what they were seeing. So we got to see it all. One thing I did think was interesting and would have been like one of the fun parts of it was the pre-show was actually the band from Mad Tea Party, if you guys remember that from DCA.
Yes.
And I was laughing because a lot of the East Coasters were saying, oh, they have an Alice in Wonderland theme band. And there were like dozens of us in the comments below that saying, Mad Tea Party! Mad Tea Party! So they kicked it off with that. So it was fun being able to hang out with the Mad Tea Party band. And they come right out, and Josh Tomorrow takes the stage. And obviously you want to start with something big, and he started with probably one of the most anticipated announcements, especially for those of us in Southern California, and that was that we are getting Avatar Land in DCA. That was the big question. We all knew Avatar Experience of some sort was coming, and the speculation was running rampant as to where it was going to go. And as soon as he said DCA, I think everybody kind of breathed a sigh of relief because we know, okay, Disneyland is okay when it comes to Avatar. We know it's not going to be removing anything or taking anything's place. So we were good with that, and we're assuming, we still don't know the placement of Avatar Land for DCA, but we're assuming it's not going to replace anything. And that's because of some other announcements that were, further down in the agenda. But what do you guys think? We're getting Avatar Land, and it's going to be based on the second and later movies, I believe, at this point. I believe the second one is predominantly where it's going to take.
Yeah, so it's based on The Way of Water. I'm excited about it. I think that it's going to be, as you can see from the screens here, these are some amazing photos. And it would be cool. This kind of reminds me of Jurassic Park, or now it's Jurassic World at Universal Studios, and with monster jumping out of the water there. But I think it would be I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know about you guys.
And isn't the ride technology supposed to be like the Pirates
in Shanghai, yeah.
Yes, it's going to be.
So if you guys haven't seen footage of Pirates in Shanghai, it is a tremendously multi-sensory, all the tricks have been, all the stage magic that they can pull out is what they did for that one. And it's basically an onslaught for the senses, it seems. I haven't ridden it, but just the footage alone has you kind of, in shock and awe at times because of how much is going on. So what do you guys say? Is that what we want from an Avatar Land? We want something that's, using a technology that's been out there, but we haven't necessarily had in the States?
Well,
or do we want something a little different?
So, look, obviously the Ratatouille ride came out in Disneyland Paris, and then suddenly out of the blue, years later, they come out with it over at Epcot. And so you always want something different and new, but I think the Shanghai ride, it's the only one that's has this right now over at any of the Disneyland. So bring that technology over here. I think it's going to be pretty amazing. And it's not going to be a rehash of Pirates of the Caribbean. It's going to be Avatar. So I think it's going to be cool that they're bringing that technology here. I'm totally fine with it. It's fairly new. It's not that old. Now, if it's something that's been around for a long time, I'd be like, okay, now we're getting the same type of ride, but it's not the same ride. It's something totally new and different. So to me, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think we needed that, because I think it's kind of split, right? Oh, Avatar, and a lot of people are happy about it, right? It's really split. So I think they really need to wow us. And I do think, because if you're watching Pirates in Shanghai on TV and you're like, whoa, right? If it's amazing through the TV, just think what it's going to be like.
Yeah, I'm of the same mindset. I think, we've all been asking for things like was it Mystery Manor?
Oh, yeah.
Or is that what it's called? I can't even.
I think it is Mystery Manor.
So.
But we're always asking for those kind of technologies, and we see this Shanghai. I'm perfectly fine with it. I'm actually looking forward to it. I love boat rides, in the parks, so I'm always good with that. And this one, should be a wow factor, like we haven't seen in a while.
Well, they have a lot. They announced a lot of new boat rides, actually, didn't they?
Well, one of them, people think it's a boat ride, but I heard that it's not a boat ride. But we'll get to that.
Oh.
So that's Avatar coming through. And I believe they didn't really announce anything other than the one ride for Avatar.
Right.
So we don't know if there's going to be a second ride in the land or what's going to be involved with this land. But from the concept art and the models that were shown the next day at D23, it seems like it's going to be pretty intense. Should be a world-class level theming and experience for it. And like I said, I'm all for it. And for me, it almost feels like it's not IP because I've never seen any of the movies. So I'm going into it cold.
You haven't seen any of them?
I have not seen any of the movies.
Have you?
When I had a lot of downtime, I watched one of them.
Oh, man. Okay. I've watched both of them.
But I think just the imagery, right? Like that alone, like even if you didn't watch the movies, I think that.
Yeah, and that's my thing. That's why I'm saying it's like I'm going into it cold, but I'm still excited because it looks fantastic. The level that I've seen and heard the reviews from Pandora in Animal Kingdom make me think, okay, this could be something. I'm not gonna nix it or be upset as an IP. Like I said, for me, it's not really an IP, but the level of quality that people talk about from Pandora is off the charts, and so I can't wait to see something that they do here. I hope they do it at the same level. That's my only thing. As long as it's at that same level, I'm good.
And it's a land too, right?
Yep.
Because I want the tree. I want to have like that whole
Well-
where it lights up at night. Like.
Well, that's the other thing. It's
Oh,
like if it comes to DCA, we get nighttime. Animal Kingdom has the struggle where it closes so early, it never gets to be nighttime, and that everybody misses out on the bioluminescence aspect of it. So with DCA, we'll actually have that here.
Yeah, that would be.
What'll
awesome.
be interesting though is this takes place in the second movie. The second movie takes place around the water.
Right.
And you
In
don't
fact,
see
if
those
we have the
floating
third
rock
photo
works.
for Avatar, I think there's a third photo that shows a little bit like above the water, and you can see how the bioluminescence will work with the water. And it's like if they can pull something like that off, this is going to be just one of those things where as you're riding, you're just like, this is so amazing.
That photo is corrupted.
Oh, darn it!
Okay, we don't have
All
it.
right, we don't have the third photo. The voice of our producer is letting us know that file ended up corrupted in the transfer, so we apologize for that. But sticking with our theme for DCA, the very next thing that Josh announced was again for DCA. This one he kind of teased it a little bit because he said we are going to have a Coco themed attraction. And it was stated as Disneyland, because I remember thinking, oh my God, this is going in Disneyland. Where's it going to go? Where's it going to go? And then after a little bit, they come back to Josh and he corrects and says,
himself.
coming into Disney California Adventure. And so everybody kind of went, oh, okay. So again, we don't know the placement. This looks like a fun ride. I think this is going to be a beautifully gorgeous little boat ride. I hope it is a decent length to allow us to really experience the story and the visuals, because Coco was a beautiful movie.
It was.
It really was a fantastically depicted movie. And if we don't get enough time in that area, in that little land, it's going to be a disappointment for me. So it needs to be of length. That's going to be the deciding factor for me.
Is
Like
it a land?
pirates?
Or is it just
Well, in just the land
gotcha.
within that universe.
Gotcha.
Like the length of like a pirate's.
Maybe not quite that long, but I think it needs to be probably 8 to 10 minutes at least. So like just slightly shorter than Pirates and It's a Small
I would
World.
take a pirate's length.
Yeah, exactly. If they want to
attraction
go
for
that far,
Coco,
I'm
yeah,
good with
that
it.
would
But
be
it
nice,
needs to
yeah.
be minimum
least.
like 8 to 10 minutes of on the ride in the actual experience.
That's got to be a pretty big show building, though.
That's fine by me. But going in DCA, again, we don't know where it's going to go. I've seen theories that it's going to be tucked behind Incredicoaster, which could make sense.
Like
but
the
then,
Plaza de Familia, right? It would
right,
kind
it
of
would
blend
kind
in
of
with the.
go around that way, but I don't know. It depends. We're in the era of Disneyland Forward now,
Right.
so we have no idea what's going to happen with this. But before we get into that speculation, what do you guys think of the idea of a Coco ride?
I think it's great. I was surprised. I didn't expect that. But just from, when you're watching World of Color or even the Pixar fireworks, Together Forever, right?
Yeah.
Everyone still goes crazy as soon as the Coco part starts, and then they have the people on top of the buildings and everything. So I think, it's a very beloved character, movie, just the whole.
Even in Mickey's Mixed Magic, it was one of
Yes.
one of the segments that really got everybody.
And it's just beautiful, right? It's just so colorful, and it's just a beautiful story. So I think everybody was, if they were surprised, pleasantly surprised that's what we were getting. So I think it fits.
Yeah, I think so too. I was shocked because I wasn't expecting to hear that they were doing a Coco ride, and I was like, "What? Wait, we're starting off with what? All right, this is interesting." I think it will make an amazing attraction, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do. Because, like Danny said, I think that they have the opportunity to show something that is just spectacular, but also the world is vibrant, it's colorful, it's fun, and you want to be in that world. And I think that's why people like it when they see the things that, Disneyland, when it comes to Coco, for the fireworks or whatever it may be, Mickey's Mixed Bag. But I think that it's going to be an amazing place, but because of the Disneyland Forward, it makes me think, okay, is it really going to be on this side, or is it going to be over where Simba's parking lot is? And if it is, are they going to have to build that parking structure first? And if you recall, they said it's not breaking ground until 2026. So we still have 2 years before that, and that gives them plenty of time to build that parking structure that they need to. So this was not, by the way, I did the predictions, and I sent them out to Danny and Cordy, and I talked to them about my reviewers. I obviously talked about Avatar. Coco was not on my list, so this was a pleasant surprise. I'm glad that they announced it. So,
yeah, like you said, I think we need to wait and see how the Disneyland Forward construction and everything goes before we really, can solidify where Coco will be. I think they'll let us know beforehand. I'm sure we'll have clues as to what's going on, and it'll quickly start forming as to where this is going to get plopped down in the resort. But I'm leaning toward everything is going to be on the side over by the Pixar Play Hotel, Pixar Place.
Yeah, same.
So,
I think so as well.
Yeah, there's not too much room left, and it would be a real weird kind of a push to get it around Incredicoaster possibly, because there's a lot of backstage stuff.
It would be nice to see the expansion too. You know what I mean? Like that's exciting to see.
There is the fact that Disney owns all those hotels on the corner that they could wipe out, but I don't think it's going to be the case. I think they'll
except Candy Cane Inn. It's going to be like the Up House. It's just going to be in the middle of everything and just stay
Good
there.
for them. Good for them. Stick it to them. All right, so now we're going to go into Disneyland proper, and this was one of the very few, not necessarily gigantic announcements, although this one comes with a little bit of controversy, and I think I haven't talked to you guys about it to find out what you guys think of this, but in the Main Street Opera House, they have announced that there will be a Walt Disney animatronic, some sort of story experience with him as an animatronic. And it's going to be on a rotating basis, so it's going to be, you'll have Walt Disney show, and then the next one will be the Lincoln show. And it'll be, we're assuming, on a rotating stage, so it'll basically just kind of rotate 180 degrees, and you'll see the next set where Lincoln is, and the next one again, it'll alternate Disney, Lincoln, Disney, Lincoln. Now, we get to the controversial part. Should Walt Disney be an animatronic?
Do you want to take that one first?
I haven't had time to digest this yet because I didn't see that coming either. It's like, oh.
Yeah, there was lots of rumors about it, but nobody had any solid information on it.
Yeah,
Well, I did predict it, and it did come true, that they were going to announce the Walt Disney animatronic. So I'll go ahead and start off. But basically, I have no problems with them doing a Walt Disney animatronic if they can get it right. Now, they've done the animatronics with Lincoln for many, many years, and they obviously do the Hall of Presidents over in Walt Disney World. I think now that the robotic technology has come so far, I mean, you see what they've done with, some of the new animatronics with, and don't go off on me here, but Tiana's Bayou Adventure, right? I know some of it's not working over there, but that's other reasons. We're talking about being in the Opera House at the Walt Disney, at Disneyland. And I think it's going to be great because they had those animatronics on display. And even though a lot of people didn't realize it, one of them was Hondo, which is really cool. And they're very intricate. And I think that the way they move, the way they do things is very natural and fluid. I'm okay with them doing a Walt Disney animatronic, given the fact that, we don't have Walt with us anymore. I think it's going to be okay to, do something like this. I know some people are like, no, we should just let Walt be Walt. You know, we have footage and we have audio, but I think it would be kind of cool. We have past presidents talking to us. Why can't we have Walt talk to us? To me, I think it would be kind of magical. And I'm okay with having this on a turntable where it has the Walt one show and then it changes over to, you know, Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. My daughter and I love Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. I think it's a really cool attraction. So I think it'll be okay. I'm interested to hear more and see if we get more feedback and flack about it. But personally, I think it's a cool idea. And the permits have already been filed. That's something that they're definitely working on. And
Well, the theater's been closed for who knows how long already, so you know
Yes.
they're doing something already.
Yes.
That was what was lending credibility to the rumors and everything. I thought it was going to be more of like a quick little pre-show. I didn't think it was going to be a alternating show the way they're doing it. I thought it was going to be more Walt Disney animatronic gives a quick intro into the Lincoln show.
I thought that too when I first heard about it. But then when I was talking to my source about it, I was like, wait a minute, it's on a turntable. Oh, this is going to be a while. They're going to do an actual presentation. I still don't think the presentation is going to be huge. I think it's going to be a nice short one compared to what Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln is. But it's still going to be, I think it's going to be informative, full of history, and I think it's going to be fun. So
My only reservation is they've got to nail it. If it's wonky in the slightest bit, and I only say this because when they released an AI version of Walt talking,
hologram?
no, it was an AI.
Oh,
like,
the AI, that's right, yes.
It did not feel like Walt in the least. It was, who is this car salesman-y type of person? It just didn't do it. So I'm hoping that they've refined things, that they've caught his mannerisms properly, and that, you know, it's done tastefully, respectfully, because we have footage of Walt. We are familiar with him. Lincoln, not so much, right? You know, the presidents, most of them are just standing there. You know, there's a little bit of talking, and even those, it's like the voice feels like it's coming from behind that. You know, it's not perfect, and that's my fear, is that it's going to feel off just enough to where it's almost uncanny valley, and you're like kind of uncomfortable with it. But if they nail it and it looks good, it done respectfully again, I'm okay with it. I'll give it a shot, but I do have my reservations already, just because of, you know, from a respecting Walt point of view. If you don't do it right, if you're not, you know, I don't think we're at the pinnacle of animatronics yet. And that's my fear, is that it's going to be a little bit wonky, you know, and you know, the way they make the faces and everything, it's always just a little bit off. It's not quite perfect all the time, you know.
Yeah, but
and the one thing that I did, when there's a malfunction, it's going to be Walt malfunctioning.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard to watch.
Yeah.
You know, if he starts doing the shaking thing, it's just going to be weird. And
But
I don't know.
how many times have you been to this Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, seen him?
No, I know. That's what I mean. It's a very rare thing. But those videos, I mean, we've all seen them from Carousel of Progress, when, you know, the hands are like
And everybody's
dangling.
ready to, like, capture.
Yeah, we are all ready with our gimbals to capture those moments. So it's just going to feel really off when it's Walt that.
No, I hear
that
what you're saying
malfunctions.
when you throw that in the mix. Then
Yeah, and it's got to be, like I said, if they do it right, it can be a very touching tribute to a person that we've all grown to love, even though we never met him. But
So one of the things I saw this past weekend was the Elsa animatronic that they actually showed at D23, and I was standing right next to her, so you could actually, you know, see the facial. Whoops, try not to get the light on there, but the eyes were a little off from the face, and I was like, well, that's kind of weird. But when you actually stood back, you know, enough, it was like, oh, well, you can't tell anything like that. And I think that Walt is going to be, his animatronic is going to be far enough from us that we're not going to see all the little minute details, and I think it'll be okay. But I agree with you. You want to make sure it's tasteful. You want to make sure they do it right. I think they will. I've never seen one of the robots, hiccup or do something inappropriate. Not inappropriate. Well, I mean, they're not like 7 years ago. You're not getting anything like that. But I don't think we're gonna. I think it's all in what they decide for him to say, do, all that stuff. And maybe hey, maybe it's gonna be the speech that we see all the time. The dedication to Disneyland. I'm sure that's got to be in there.
Well, that's the other thing. Somebody was asking, are they going to use actual recordings or use AI to do it? And it's like, okay, there's more question marks there. That okay, now there's another spot that could get a little wonky. And
well, if it's like our intro with Walt Disney, yeah, because that's AI, obviously. But I don't know. What do you think, Cordy?
I'm just curious to see what the script is. What will he say, right? Because like all these things are running through my head. Is it like, here's Disneyland, like is it that? Is it Wonderful World of Disney, kind of thing, and introducing something? Or yeah, that's going to be interesting to see. And do we know who's running the show? Like who's working on this? Or
we don't. But my speculation is it's going to be the Garner Holt.
Yeah, I would think that they're
because that plays into it, right? If there's somebody who is passionate about this and wants to, like you were saying.
The folks at Garner Holt, they're one of the companies that you could say, I trust them, that they wouldn't, give it a halfway type of effort. They would put more than 100% in on it.
Okay.
So that's if it is them, which I'm assuming it is, then that's one mark in the pro column,
right.
That says yes, okay, we can possibly look at this. Daryl Chin mentioned, and I saw this earlier on Twitter, Walt's granddaughter is not happy about this.
Oh.
And she stated that her mom fought to make sure that they never did something like that. So when the family is saying, I don't, please don't do this to my grandpa, don't make my grandpa a robot, I'm of the mindset that you pull back and you say, okay, we'll find a plan B at this point then.
Well, let me ask, I don't know, should I ask, what do you think Walt Disney would think?
I don't think he would want to be done like this. I know he enjoyed being in front of the camera, loved being with the guests and the fans and everybody, but I don't think he would have wanted to see himself like this. I know he's gone, so it's up to us. How do we want to honor him, and how do we do a proper tribute? So like I said, if they nail it, it could be the kind of thing where nobody comes out with a dry eye. It could be something fantastic, and that's why I'm going to go in there with cautious optimism. But yeah, it's got its things that make you question: is this the right move? Is it the best move? It's now the right time. So we will find out soon enough, I'm sure. I don't know.
Next year, right?
I think it's scheduled to be out next year.
Yes.
So we've got 6 to 8 months before we get.
I'm sure they'll unveil it at the 70th, right? When that starts,
and perhaps that's a good timing for it. That you wrap it into we're celebrating Walt with the 70th anniversary, and like I said, if they do it right, it could be a very, very well done, touching tribute and a great way to honor him. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
So, and then we had a couple other smaller announcements for Disneyland. One of them, I think we've been asking for it, but now that we're getting it, it's kind of like, well, all right, great, thanks. They are adding Mandalorian and Grogu to Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run.
Yes.
So it's basically, after 5 years, utilizing the technology that they always tout that we can change this whenever we want and add everything anytime we want. They're finally doing it after 5 years of this thing being open and fans going, can we get something new here, please? So that was one of the announcements. I'm not sure, did they say when that kicks in?
No, they didn't say, but I'm sure, who knows, maybe it'll be part of Season of the Force, next year. Who knows?
Possibly, yeah. So probably another part of the 70th anniversary, something else that they can, tack on and say, this got something new. And then I think probably the one that had us chomping at the bit and kind of finally thinking, hooray, is Tiana's Bayou Adventure has an opening date, November 15th this year. Well, what do we think? Because not only did we get an opening date, we got the new poster that you guys can see there. And if you look at the bottom of that poster, we've got a new land, or a new name for the land. So, Bob,
oh, boy,
we're going to go ahead and talk to you first because your sources have you believing that November 15th is a date that they should not have pushed for because it's a little earlier than probably.
Yeah. So, as you guys know, I have some sources with Disneyland, and we had been talking about this, and they said, things are so bad right now, they are not opening this up till 2025, and they pretty much, guaranteed me that it was not till 2025. And then, with all the construction and everything they have going on, for them to announce it, I called up my source and said, okay, we got to talk real quick because you said not till 2025, they're not even ready. She goes, they're not. I go, what? They're not ready. This place still has so much work to do. They'll be lucky to open it on the 15th. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I said, okay, well, if they're not ready to open it up, what are they going to do? And she goes, I think they're going to open it up and they're going to continue to work on the ride until they get everything completed. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that you won't get to see that they're working on. And I said, oh, okay. So I still believe that this ride is not ready based on my source. But regardless, they've announced the opening date. So let's see what happens. My fear is that we're going to have all the same issues and problems with like Walt Disney World did, right? Now, here's the funny thing, and you can go see this on my live stream. I actually had it, and I wish we could share it here now, but I actually talked to one of the Imagineers who actually was responsible for programming the animatronics for Tiana's Bayou Adventure for Walt Disney World as well as Disneyland. And so I had to ask, right? You know me. I had to ask, and I was very nice about it. And I said, look, the animatronics are amazing. They're really, really cool. However, with all the issues you've had over at Walt Disney World, what are you guys doing to make sure this doesn't happen at Disneyland? Oh man, I caught him off guard. He was like, well, we're always trying to learn from our mistakes and from things that happen, and we're always trying to improve things. Well, I didn't quite answer my question, and so I kind of pushed a little bit more. I don't think he was too thrilled about me asking, but I had to ask these questions because to me, it's very, very important. We have a ride that's not even working half the day at Walt Disney World. It's brand new. They spent over $100 million from what I've been told on this ride for each of the parks. So we're talking about $200 million. That's a lot to be, concerned about. And the fact that, we're not sure if it's going to have the same issues or problems over here at Disneyland. So he was, he tried to answer as best he could in the PC way. But based on, my source and talking to him, and from what I know, I don't think it's ready to open on November 15th. And they're going to do it anyhow, and we'll just go with the flow. And again, we'll see what happens. Now, if we're having all these problems and issues, like, Walt Disney World, then I'm going to say, I told you so, the ride wasn't ready. But at the same time, I hope we don't. I really don't want to. As much as I hate seeing the ride being turned into, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, I think that I just want a ride that works, that we can experience and try. But I got to tell you, because we're going to be talking about this in a moment, about something that's coming to another land. Why didn't they do this instead of Tiana's Bayou Adventure? Now, the other thing is, they changed to Bayou Country. Are you kidding me? Bayou Country? What happened to Critter Country? I was fine with Critter Country. I like Critter Country. Bayou Country? What? Okay, are we going to change? Is Haunted Mansion now going to be part of Bayou? Or is Haunted Mansion going to be part of New Orleans? I don't know. Jeez.
Yeah. Cordy, what do you think of them announcing a date? You've seen where they are with construction. Obviously you're not.
Well, I'm just like, oh, yay.
Construction superintendent or
Yay,
anything.
in 2 days I can make my reservation. And I just figured, I really did. I was like, okay, November 15th, great.
Yeah, see, I thought about it, and I was like, at this point, they could be pushing to get the ride itself ready for November 15th, and it's going to be a runaway railway situation where you walk through this corridor of walls right up to the ride.
Right, that's right.
You're going to have to circle all the way around through Galaxy's Edge to get there because the bridge and all this stuff, we're still working on it. And we got this one little path for you to get to the ride.
Then we got curtains because we're not done with,
exactly, yeah. So there could be a situation
That's
where
true.
it's ride is open, but land is, still a month or two away, the same way that they did with Runaway Railway. And we survived that.
We did.
This one feels a little different, I think. I think it's because it's replacing a ride, and Runaway Railway was something new, and we knew they were working on the whole land, But I think I get why they went with Bayou Country, because they're keeping Bear Country, Critter Country, Bayou Country, keeping that intact. But I don't know, it just feels weird.
Does I don't know. My whole thing was, again, we got New Orleans and now you got Bayou. Well, to me, they're almost kind of the same.
Yes.
So why are we calling it that? And again, I'm just partial to Critter Country, but you're right. We had Bear Country, now we have Critter Country, now we have Bayou Country. I'll be fine with it. Don't worry, kids. But I just was taken aback when I saw that. I was like, what? Bayou Country? What?
Yeah, I saw somebody comment on Twitter that why didn't they go with Critter Bayou?
Ooh, that would have been okay.
Based on what the ride itself has, it's
True.
all about critters, and it's like it kind of would have made sense. And I don't know, Winnie the Pooh still is this little lone
I know.
attraction back there now, so it's going to be kind of weird.
Well,
So
you don't even have that store anymore.
yeah.
Well, you do. It's just called something else.
Yeah, and then they just released today Hungry Bear. They
Yep.
released some of the menu for that, so be sure to go check out Cordy's channel in a few days once she gets a chance to kind
Yes.
of dig into that. Our resident foodie guide, connoisseur extraordinaire, but it looks good.
It does.
I'm liking the barbecue,
It
and
does.
if they can do good barbecue, I'm all for it. So yeah, that's Tiana's Bayou Adventure opening November 15th. I think everybody's kind of hoping that we're ready for it. That's the main thing.
So pack your parkas, right? We all jump on that, right?
Make sure your gimbal has the phone on there securely.
Yeah. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, Casual's phone fell off.
One time. It happened one time.
It was only, that's all you needed. Was one time.
The problem with it was Mrs. Casual told me don't take it on Splash Mountain again. Because I mentioned to her that you got to be careful with it, and she's like, well, don't take it on Splash Mountain. Oh, I won't take it on Splash Mountain. Anybody have a phone up there? It was so
Yeah,
bad.
if you watch it, you get to see the whole show.
Oh my God! You guys have no idea how bad my heart sank because I didn't know where the phone
Only
was.
imagine.
I had no idea. I thought if that thing is out in the flume somewhere, I'm dead. I'm dead. Mrs. Casual is going to skin me alive. But anyways, moving on to our next topic. What do we have? What do we have, Bob? We're going over to Disney World. We are heading to Animal Kingdom. This one was another big announcement. A lot of people, we were all figuring this is what was happening. We've seen the what ifs on this a little bit, but the Tropical Americas are coming to Animal Kingdom in Florida. And the Tropical Americas is going to kind of encompass quite a bit of the area there with a few new attractions, which is kind of nice, and one retheme attraction. We are getting the carousel that you can see down there toward the bottom center of the photo there, concept art. And this they are touting as a wonderful carousel. how they describe it is you're going to get to ride some of the Disney animals, I think is how they put it.
Right. Kevin.
So yeah, it's going to be an interesting little carousel. I love carousels. I get a kick out of seeing how they, the interpretations that they give on the ride animals, if you will. So at Disneyland we have the amazing,
King Arthur's carousel.
King Arthur carousel with all the horses. And if Carousel Kim is in a chat that you see, you can ask her about all the horses. She knows most of the names, and almost every single horse has a name. And they have distinct features, no two are alike. And then we had the King Triton carousel, which had all the sea creatures. So you could actually ride a little otter if you wanted to, which is my favorite. And now we have Jesse's Critter carousel.
You can ride a skunk backwards.
A skunk backwards. A purple skunk riding backwards. What gets better than that? Except maybe a rattlesnake.
True.
There's also purple armadillos. It's fun to see that. Knott's Berry Farm has a wide variety of animals on theirs. You can ride an ostrich, a rabbit. So it's fun to see that. They did release the first vehicle, which is Kevin from Up, is the first one. And you can see how it's made to look very handcrafted, and when I saw this, I was like, "That's really nice." I'm eager to see what else they do with this because this looks quality to me. It's got a lived-in, a been there for years type of feel, and it's obviously it's Kevin. I don't know what the other animals are going to be.
I love that,
but I'm looking forward to seeing it because it looks like somebody who cares about a carousel is doing it, just from this one thing.
It also seems to fit that theme of the tropical Americas. I mean, you've got the Encanto, you got Indiana Jones. It's a very tropical, lush area. So I think.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, did I say that already? Sorry, we're getting that just a moment here.
I'm sure none of you guys know anything about what we're talking about yet, so it's.
Yeah, but I think it fits that area, so it's going to do really, really well. I mean, if you think about it right now, they've got the dino area, and it never was quite. Have you ever been to Animal Kingdom? Have you been to Animal Kingdom? Yeah, so you have, and I have. So the dinosaur area is kind of like kind of a mediocre carnival. Would you call it that? I don't know.
Yeah,
But it kind of just feels
that was the intent, though.
Right.
Which, bad call.
Yeah, it was, but that's okay because they're making up for it now.
Yeah.
So I think with this, but the only thing I was kind of like, what? They're just putting one carousel in? That's it? I mean, I know we're gonna have some other attractions we're gonna talk about here in a moment, but I thought they were gonna do maybe a little bit more in that area. So.
Yeah, it's current year Disney. I'm surprised we're getting 3 attractions in there, even if one of them's just a carousel. I'm really surprised. It's usually you get 2. That's
True.
it. So
that's all Disney's been doing is 2. It's like, oh, we're coming out with a new land, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Got 2 rides.
2 rides.
Yeah.
All right, we got what was it with Avengers?
Yep.
Yep. So
we got 2 rides.
So I'm glad they're doing it. The other attraction, the new one, is oh wait, no, we're going Indy next. So we're talking about Indiana Jones. What's happening with this one? Some people are upset about this because they love Dinosaur at Animal Kingdom, but that is going away. If you guys don't know, Dinosaur is basically a duplicate of the Indiana Jones Adventure at Disneyland. The exact same ride track layout. Everything is exactly the same. It's just the set pieces are different. So what they're going to be doing is taking Dinosaur and retheming it to a new Indiana Jones adventure. It's not going to be the one that we have in California, so it is a new one, which I'm okay with. I don't really have a connection to Dinosaur, and I think part of what is happening with Disney is they realize our dinosaur attractions can't compete with the IP of Jurassic Park. And I really think that's the mindset. I don't agree with that. I think if you do a quality dinosaur ride, everybody's going to love it. Because kids love dinosaurs, And adults, when you're confronted with a quality dinosaur ride, you become that little kid who loved dinosaurs way back when. So, but this Indiana Jones one, it is got an animal aspect to it. There's some sort of mythical creature or something, if I recall.
Okay.
And so there's that aspect that's how it ties into Animal Kingdom. There's a mythical creature of some sort.
So I've been on the dinosaur ride, and I love the dinosaur ride. I actually like it because it's different from Indy.
Right.
And I think that's the thing about the parks is that if you have something, that's the exact same ride at the exact same parks, then it's like, okay, well, I'm kind of rehashing the same stuff here. Do I really want to go to this park? But at the same time, I like dinosaur because it was different. Now, I will say, I went, oh boy, I think we're talking about 10 years ago. I went to Animal Kingdom, and when I experienced it, I thought it was a great ride, but it was a little outdated. So I think if they were to update it, it would have been fine. But I think they were looking for something new to kind of get people to come to Animal Kingdom, and what better way than to bring Indiana Jones in. Now, they are saying it's a different type of Indiana Jones ride. Even though it's the same type of layout and everything, they're saying it's going to be a different experience, and I'm totally fine with that. I think that'll be neat. I like the different concept arts they're showing, so I think it's exciting. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. And I think it'll fit better into this area than the dinosaur ride did. So, thoughts, Cordy?
That's the thing without having been to Walt Disney World at all. It's I think Indiana Jones. I mean, obviously people love it at Disneyland. So if they put a new storyline there, why not?
Yeah,
I think
that's my
cool.
thing. As long as it's not a clone, then I'm perfectly fine.
There's so much
with it.
to do.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
there's so much there for.
Yeah, so
I agree.
I'm good with that. So I don't know if I'll necessarily book a trip to Disney World for this.
For it,
but
right.
It would be one of the things that it's like, okay, we're going to Disney World. I've got to see their Indiana Jones ride. So there's that. And then the one that I think people were most excited about for the Tropical Americas is Encanto is getting an attraction. They are going to have what do they call it, the casita?
Yes.
And they will have it there. You will see it, and you will. Unfortunately, it's the typical thing that we see casita, but we go in off to the side to get to the actual attraction, which is always a bummer when you don't get to go through the front door of something like that. But so this is going to be this is the one where if we go to the next photo, the next concept art. This is the one where everybody thinks it's a boat ride, but from what I've heard, this is actually a standard dark ride. It might be trackless, but the art does not let you see where the ground is. So everybody assumes this was another boat ride, but I think this is more going to be probably along the lines of Runaway Railway.
I think so too.
Okay.
And this looks fun. It looks exciting. I like the fact they're basing it on, is it Antonio? Is that his name, the kid?
The one who has the attic or something like that, that's a rainforest?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one.
So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. This looks exciting. It looks fun. It looks unique. And I'm glad that they're doing this because, I wasn't sure what are they going to do for this, movie, because this is or ride, I should say, from this movie, because it's definitely unique and it's different. But that's what I was looking for.
Cordy?
And again, it's just beautiful. Like just the
Oh,
colors,
yeah.
Right.
that's what you want. Just people to be like, And that's cool. I thought too that it was going to be like a boat ride. So now I have to kind of rethink.
Yeah, I haven't seen Encanto, so I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know much about it. But if it is a Runaway Railway style, I'm imagining, when you see, I've seen some of the clips, with your vehicles being able to spin, and there's things happening around you. And if they utilize screens judiciously, it could be a really, like you guys said, just a beautiful experience, and you can kind of, feel like you've stepped into that world.
Well, yeah, you can think of like just from looking at the movie, and I know it's not based actually on the movie
Right.
as we
I'm
saw
not,
it.
I'm not sure what they said for the storyline, so it might not be a book report style. It may give us a whole nother.
It's supposed to be, how, well, you didn't see the movie. So,
Right.
spoiler alert.
That's fine.
So when they go into Antonio's area of the rainforest, it's like him getting his powers, So it's a whole new adventure from his perspective of when they go into his rainforest. So I think it's going to be pretty exciting, and it's going to be different. And the thing I like is that there's so much imagination that they could use. I mean, it could be anything, and it would be fun. For this
Going
type
room
of,
to room,
yes,
right? That
room to
kind of
room.
it fits that concept, I think.
Yeah, obviously, I think we're staying in the one room, but from what I don't know, maybe we're not. I don't know.
Right. It
It
could
sounded like it was just Antonio's room, but hey,
I know
if
they
it
mentioned that
goes-
one specifically, but I don't know if they mentioned.
Or I mean, in the actual
Oh, yeah.
going on Mickey and Minnie's, right? So
Right.
we're like a scene.
I think it would work
different-
well if we could go from door to door. And hey, who
Oh,
knows?
that would be so cool. That
We're
really
supposed
would
to
be.
hopefully see Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno.
They have to. They kind of have to.
Yeah, if they don't, it's a little weird. It's like, what happened? So that's the Tropical Americas coming to Animal Kingdom. I think we're going to stick to Walt Disney World for our next thing. And this one, I think this one kind of came out of nowhere. I'm not sure if many people were expecting this announcement, but to Disney Hollywood Studios, they are getting a Monsters, Inc. land.
Mm-hmm.
Not just a ride, and they're calling it Monsters, Inc. Land. And you can take a look at that. The concept art, you can see a little James P. Sullivan themed slide. You can see the Harryhausen eyeball with the chopsticks. And obviously the Monsters, Inc. Is that the Laugh Factory now, I guess?
Well, yeah, instead of the Scream Factory.
Yeah, so you'll be going through all of that, and the big ride is going to be the much anticipated, everybody kind of been clamoring for it, the Door Warehouse coaster. So you'll be on a suspended coaster traveling through the amazing Door Warehouse from Monsters, Inc.
Okay, I can't tell you how excited I am about this ride because seriously, out of all the announcements, this is one that had me going, what? It's not coming to Disneyland or DCA? This thing looks awesome. In fact, I was thinking, God, can we please just get rid of Monsters, Inc. and change it to this ride, please?
We'll
This would
trade
be
you.
awesome. Exactly. I mean, it just looks fun and exciting. And obviously, I know this is concept art, but they could easily do this ride, and I can see this happening. And I think it would be just a blast to be on. I mean, I'm just looking at that going, when is this breaking ground? When are they doing it?
Yeah, I don't know if we have a timetable on that one either.
No.
They were not.
Oh,
There were only a
look
few
at
of them that they
picture.
actually gave timetables, but this is the model for it. And here's where it starts getting a little dicey for me, in that there's a lot that needs to be hidden, and I don't know if they're gonna hide it properly, or is it going to be another Cosmic Rewind gigantic box painted sky blue? That's my worry.
Well,
Again, it could. I'm just speculating. This isn't anything that I've seen. Any final type of stuff. This is models, and we're just kind of going off of concept art. But you can see that the glass kind of creates a box. I'm assuming that's how the actual show building will look. So they have to hide it somehow. I'm hoping that it's hidden with more than just blue paint. That's all I'm saying.
well, and it could be where they it's dark, like kind of like Space Mountain, right? Where they have certain things highlighted and whatnot. Crush's coaster over at Disneyland Paris, or actually it's at the Walt Disney Studio there in Paris. They actually it's kind of like Space Mountain as well. You're in a coaster and they have bubbles all around, but it's dark enough where you don't see everything very brightly. When we go on the Monsters Ride Inc. Or Sully to the Rescue, is that what it's called?
Mike and Sully.
Mike and Sully to the Rescue. I mean, they do have the door areas very dark, So I expect it to be the same thing where you have a lot of bright doors that are lit up by these, black lights, and then you have like video screens that we see from time to time as you're passing by them or something, and you'll hear that. But what interests me is that it's very intricate, and it's a very, very long track if you look on that screen there. And this picture only shows it looks like it's kind of like the loading, unloading type side.
That's the load platform, it looks like.
Yeah, it does. So I think there's going to be a lot to this that we're really not seeing. And it's also interesting because it looks like the loading has two different sides.
Yeah, I think Disney has kind of learned their lesson, and to get the throughput proper, these kind of coasters, they need two load platforms. They did that with Tron, they did that with Cosmic Rewind, and I think it's just going to be, their standard procedure when it comes to these things, which is great. And it looks like the track is at the bottom, and then it lifts up and meets the track at the top. So it's going to be kind of cool to see how that operates. And it does seem, I mean, obviously we can't tell from a model necessarily, but it seems like a very tight footprint.
It does.
That back area where the rest of the coaster is, it's like a spaghetti bowl.
Yeah, it is.
And that's what's interesting to me, is that you're getting that much in there. It looks like a lot of track in a very small footprint, which is interesting, could be cool. And like I said, I'm just hoping it's not another big box kind of thing, because that's my only thing. I just at least disguise it nicely. That's my only thing. I miss the days of the show building being a Matterhorn. Or Thunder Mountain, where you can walk nearly all the way around it. That is one of the things I miss. Obviously, this one they couldn't do that because it has to be indoors. But
so
indoors.
Are you saying it needs to be like housed in something like Matterhorn, right?
Well, just
would it be in the Laugh Factory?
Right, it's going to be in the Laugh Factory, but I would hope that they would actually make the factory the whole way.
I see what you're saying.
What I mean?
Okay.
The show building should be the entire factory, not just the facade and then a big box.
Okay.
If they do that, then it's like, well done. But yeah, that's my thing. I hate seeing the big boxes.
So maybe the queue, right? The queue would probably be a lot of the factory.
Exactly. We'd have to go by Roz's office and the big
that
atrium
would
when you
be
walk in
amazing
and
if
things
they
like
built
that.
that
Yeah, it'd be
into the
really
queue.
cool looking.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great idea. Obviously, like I said, everybody's been kind of clamoring for the suspended coaster with the doors and everything. I think that's been around since probably almost 20 years now. So yeah, I think it's a good idea. Like right there, if you can see how the factory goes back like that, if that's what they do with the actual building, perfect. I don't mind looking at that, because that's a themed building.
Right.
But that's nitpicking, obviously, and we don't know where I believe there's two places that people are speculating that it goes. That it takes over the courtyard where Muppet Vision is.
Poor Muppets.
Or it goes to the animation area. And I think somebody had a little more defined information that puts it more toward the animation. So Muppet fans, relax for a minute.
Yeah, no kidding. Because Roz is going to be there.
Yeah.
Watching. I'm always watching.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So moving on, now we get to a smaller, but actually, I say smaller, but this is actually something really cool, because it's been a long time since we've had one of these in basically any of the parks, it feels like. Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World is getting a new nighttime parade called Starlight. And this one is going to basically probably be, I would say, similar to the Electrical Parade in Tokyo or Paint the Night that we had here at Disneyland. So it's going to be Electrical Parade next generation. Should be fantastic. Nighttime parades are always good. Well, let me
Light
rephrase
magic.
that.
Yeah.
Nighttime parades are always welcome. And if they're not good, we welcome them to leave and not come back. Which during the presentation, they actually started playing the light magic music.
No.
And I was like, oh no. are they going to do Light Magic 2 and try to like say we did it, but we made it better this time? I was like, but no, they were playing random music. They played a lot of Horizons and stuff like that. So, but again, nighttime parade. I am not going to knock it. It's,
I'm jealous.
Unless, yeah, I know. They didn't announce anything, but they could be we'll talk about this in a minute, but there was very little for Disneyland proper. So it could be that they're holding that back for the 70th. That's my hope.
Yes.
Is that, come October, we get some new announcements that are all about the 70th anniversary for Disneyland, and some of these, slights will be, made right.
Yeah.
So I can't recall if they had music from this already played or not.
I thought they did play one song.
I was going to say, I want to say they did something, but I was only halfway paying attention at that point for that. I was like, eh. But, and I believe Mitch said that the Monsters, Inc. coaster is scheduled for 2026. I don't know if that's groundbreaking or opening in 2026, but.
Probably groundbreaking.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. So moving on, we're going to actually, we're going to come back to Magic Kingdom because that's one we really want to dig into a little bit here. But we're going to head over to Disneyland Paris, and in the new Disney Adventure World park.
That is correct.
They are getting, they're getting a whole new area, right? It's with Arendelle, isn't it? Is that everything?
No, they're getting a whole nother place called The Lion King. Yes. Hello, and Pride Rock. Wow, look at that. Okay, this is where I wanted to chime in earlier. Can we have just had this instead of Tiana's Bayou Adventure, everyone? Seriously, that looks amazing. I could totally see them turning Splash Mountain into that. Okay, I'm off my high horse now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for me, I still would have been like, why are you doing that? I want Splash Mountain.
Well, I know, but if they were going to change it to something else, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, we've talked about this, Tiana's Bayou Adventure to me is more of a dark ride, and this would be perfect for a water ride. I love it. Look at that. So this is actually, and I was telling you guys, if you go back and you see my footage or any of the streamers' footage from D23, you'll see that they show Arendelle, but there's this area that's kind of open. I'm like, what's going on over here? And then, of course, they announced at the parks panel that they're putting in a Lion King land.
Is it a land or like a mini land?
Well, it's probably a mini land.
It's like the way they did Fantasy Springs, where it's like kind of like semi-intertwined. IPs.
Yeah, because it's an actual land area. It's like Bug's Land. I'm kidding. Bug's Land. Yeah, it's going to be its own little land with this water coaster, or I guess water flume, log ride flume. I don't know, but it looks cool to me. I think that is something that is going to be in me. That would draw me to go to Disneyland Paris again. But there's a lot of rides that would take me back to Disneyland Paris. But that is going to be really, really cool. Unfortunately, we're going to have to wait because they're doing Arendelle right now, and then eventually they'll get to this ride. But I don't know. What do you think, Cordy?
Oh, I love it. I'm jealous about this too.
I know. How come we're not getting that?
Can't we just have two? We can have right next to Tiana's. Give it all to us.
Well, Danny, what do you think?
I'm not sold on it completely.
Why?
It just feels weird to have the waterfall at Pride Rock.
Well, I get your point because there was no waterfall originally.
Yeah, and that's that. I don't know. I don't associate Lion King with a log flume either.
But if you look at it from the other angle, it doesn't look like it's a log flume.
Right, but I'm looking at it from this angle.
I know. See what I deal with?
Like I said, for me, I mean, I know. I guess Splash Mountain, does that evoke log flume? But it worked. Well, there was something about it, and I'd have to see this. I have to see how it goes because like I said, I'm not sold on it. I think I don't know. It feels off to me.
Are they going to play "Be Prepared" as you go up the?
Well, that's what some people are saying. Yeah, it's things like that. But it feels like they needed a log flume, and they decided Lion King was a popular enough IP for it, and figured out a way to get it to work. But it just, to me, it feels a little bit forced. Feels like they were really stretching and trying and kind of cramming the two ideas together.
I think maybe would have. I think if they wouldn't have put Pride Rock right there, maybe if they had, you're going along the log flume and you come across Pride Rock, that's one thing, and then you go down, maybe that would work a little better. I still think it looks cool the way it is, but yeah, I get your point. It's not how it was in the movie, so why are they doing it this
I mean,
way?
you
It
could
feels
probably
forced.
set up a good story for it, as you're cruising along, and right alongside there's Pumbaa and Timon on a log, and they're singing the Hakuna Matata, and then you separate and you go on your adventure. It could work, possibly. That's why I said I'd have to see it.
Yeah.
But the Pride Rock thing, that's where I feel like it's a stretch.
But it could change, right?
Right, exactly. It could go slightly different.
Cordy's on
direction.
Tiana's Bayou Adventure. It's gonna be like this. 2 years later, no, it's not gonna be like that. It's gonna be like this. And then 2 years later, no, it's gonna be even worse. We're gonna do this. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, like I said, for me, it's just I think it's just the Pride Rock thing that just feels a little bit off.
But I think there's so many. I've already talked to like people who, they're like, I'm going for this. Yeah.
Wow. Well, Lion King, it's a
Just because
popular
of that,
and a fantastic movie. It was a phenomenon when it came out. Somebody asked me, I think in one of my live streams, your favorite parade, and I said, "Oh, Electrical Parade." And then I thought, wait a minute, Lion King Celebration was really, really good.
Right.
It was.
Yeah.
But that's how it was at the time. Lion King Celebration, Lion King, it really was a phenomenon. It was a tremendous movie when it came out.
And then you look at like the demographic, who grew up
Right.
with Lion King. So,
Good
I
point.
mean, that's.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not going to, completely, like I said, for me,
But I
it's
get
just,
what
it
you're
just,
saying.
It just feels off. But like I said, I could easily see, you cruising alongside and there's Timon and Pumbaa on a log, and that's how you're floating down a river, and off you go on your
And it
adventure.
all
And
makes
it's
sense.
like, okay, there's the setup. That's all you needed.
Yeah.
So now we're going to come back, because this one, yeah, when these were announced, the arena went nuts. The chat were flying. It was gangbusters, amazing. Everybody was so excited. And we're going to let you be excited for a minute here. And then we'll get into it. But they released what's going to be going on with their Beyond Big Thunder, and that is Cars. We'll be getting attractions in Frontierland at Disney World. And Magic Kingdom, as you can see right there in the dead center of the concept art, is Big Thunder Mountain.
Shoot, that looks cool.
So right next to Big Thunder Mountain, you're going to have a new wilderness that springs up. And this is an off-road rally, which is going to be probably somewhat similar to our Radiator Springs Racers, kind of like Test Track, but with a completely different feel. We shall see. I've heard that it's going to be a combination of Radiator Springs Racers and Indiana Jones Adventure. So you'll get the speed and the fun of Radiator Springs Racers, but the added jolt of adrenaline that comes with an off-road type of motion that Indiana Jones Adventure ride system can give you. So I don't know much more than that. That's all speculation from people that were, bantering back and forth on Twitter. But then there's also another attraction that's going to be, aimed at the younger set. I'm assuming this is probably, at least I'm hoping, going to be kind of a dark ride for Cars, in a Cars Land setting, and which I think would be cute and fun. So if they do this as well as they did Cars Land in DCA, potential home run for this. I'm going to put an asterisk on that, though.
Yeah, we're going to get to
So,
that in a moment.
along with this came probably the announcement that had everybody losing their mind more than anything else, and that is Villains Land was finally announced for Magic Kingdom. and we are getting, I believe they're calling it Villains at Magic Kingdom, and this is I believe the lone piece of concept art they gave us.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see back there, you can see a Maleficent dragon, burst into flames, a crazy castle up on a craggy type of pedestal of mountain. And at the very bottom, in the blue, kind of greenish teal color, you can see a coaster. Back over behind Maleficent, off to the left, is another coaster, possibly. And then there's a village area off to the right side.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me Murphy's coming back?
Well, who knows what's going to be in this land?
Yeah.
That's
We
true.
have no idea what they have planned for it. We can see concept art, but this obviously is fantastical style concept art. This is not, blueprint ready type of elevations. This is probably a step above, a step past blue sky. This is, let's solidify things a little bit more, but plenty room to make changes as they see fit. But what do you guys think of a Villain's Land?
I think there's a lot of things that have come out. This is one of them that actually make me want to go there. Yeah.
Yeah, Villain's Land, I mean, this is obviously in response to Dark Universe at Epic Universe,
It is.
which could be a very wise, very smart counterpoint. Because Dark Universe is aimed at the tweens and older. This one could be that, teens and younger, appropriate Villain's Land. And from any interactions, I'm sure you guys have had interactions with the villains, the walk-around characters at Disneyland, they can be a hoot.
Yeah.
Yes.
They can have some fun with the guests. And if they keep that attitude, I think this could be another, like I said, home run,
It's Villains Grove, a whole world of
Exactly.
villains.
That's what I actually mentioned that to somebody on Twitter. I was like, if they do it with some Villains Grove aspects, obviously you can't do an entire land with Villains Grove. That'd be a little too moody, and I think you'd end up leaving depressed almost. But if they have that aspect and that tone throughout the land, it's gonna be the kind of thing where I might be like, I don't know if I can book a trip, but I really want to.
Yeah. And if they do like the change from day to night, like,
Oh, yes.
yeah.
Exactly.
That would be awesome.
So Villains Land has a ton of potential. We don't have much information on it yet.
Well, that's the thing, though. It has potential. It's one step past blue sky.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. But the one thing I did want to bring up, and this is the most frustrating thing, and I don't have the artwork to show you
let me
guys
see if I can bring
because
it up.
it was a little late, and I was already at work when news broke. But the Cars Land area, or Cars attractions in Frontierland, we've been calling it Beyond Big Thunder. This is actually beside Big Thunder because it will be taking the place of at least the southern half of the Rivers of America.
I'm trying to bring it up right now.
And
Give me 1
that,
second.
to
everyone.
me, is possibly the worst decision I've ever seen them make with one of the parks. To eliminate the Rivers of America at a castle park is a travesty. It is something that goes against basically the foundational, not rules or laws, but to have a park with
Why is that-
surrounding
sorry.
themes like this, you are basically removing that from this entire area.
I don't know why it's
And
not
I-
showing up the whole thing there. Oh, the green's not showing up because of green screen.
Oh, we've got a hole in it. Yeah,
right
so right
here,
there, there's a little bit of green that's
There's green
marked
as
off.
well. I was like, why is it not showing up? Yeah, but you can see this is going to take up. This is the Rivers America. That's everything in blue right now, everyone.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're getting rid of Rivers America and Tom Sawyer's Island. What you talking about, Disney?
Yeah, I cannot fathom why this would be the option that they would go with. I'm not saying you can't toss it out there, because yes, I'm in a creative industry, get all the ideas out, because you never know what's going to spark something that leads to the perfect idea.
Right.
To have this released, I question the people in charge. Because this, like I said, you're going against a foundational piece of what makes a theme park a theme park. And I don't know. It's frustrating to see it happen, because the castle parks are different than other parks. I would be perfectly fine with them saying this is going in Hollywood Studios. This is going in Disney Adventure World.
Exactly.
I'd be like, awesome if they do it like Cars Land. It's going to be amazing.
Right.
I'm going to love it. It's going to be great. But to rip out Rivers of America to put something like this in, and here's my thing. It's probably going to look beautiful. It's probably going to have water and waterfalls and streams. Think about Grizzly Peak, the Grizzly River Run area. Beautiful, amazing. You love it. I always walk by and tell people, this used to be a parking lot. Look what they did. But I would not put that in place of Rivers of America.
No.
Right.
And I don't think this decision is a decision that takes into account the long-term viability of the Magic Kingdom. There is something tremendously wrong with it. And the fact that the management at Disney does not see that as a problem is a problem. You can show me all the spreadsheets showing how many more billions of dollars you're going to make with these attractions in place. You can tell me how many more people this park is going to be able to hold, how many more people are going to get to ride attractions, how much more money you're going to make off the lightning lanes. I would still tell you that is not an option.
Right.
And people are saying, oh, well, what about the shareholders? You're a publicly held company. You need to make good for the shareholders. That decision to not do something like this is taking those shareholders and their kids and their grandkids into account.
Yeah. I know we haven't been paying attention to the chat as well as we probably should.
Yeah, it's a little difficult because we're not right in front of our computers necessarily.
Right. And we can only have one screen up on our iPads or computers, but I'm seeing some replies here, and there's a lot of people who are not happy about the Rivers of America going away. So we're with you, but again, we have to wait to see what happens. Unfortunately, this is not our decision. This is, other, this is Disney's decision. By the way, I see a lot of you saying hi to me in the chat. I can't reply right now, but thank you for saying hi.
And Buddy Hepburn says, majority of comments are, quote, no one rides the Liberty Bell or goes to the island anyways. Again, you're looking at it from not a capacity even. It's a, I don't know what the right word, a usefulness, I guess, usable use, type of aspect, but you don't understand that simply walking next to the rivers is what makes the theme. Somebody asked me, why do you think this is a short-sighted decision? And I replied, water features are necessary in a theme park because they give a sense of calm and a sense of security, because we need water to live. All the trees in the natural area is necessary for shade, again, calming, and it gives you a chance to mask the buildings, the big boxes, in a way that feels natural. And then there's the whole idea that when you're in a theme park, and this is what sets Disney apart from amusement parks, you're supposed to walk in and you're supposed to believe the fantasy. What the Rivers of America does is allows you to sit there and realize this was how it was at one time. This riverboat was at one point one of the fastest modes of transportation. This is how people lived. Our humanity springs from building around bodies of water. That's how societies come about.
Mm-hmm.
When you start stripping all these things away, frontierland means nothing.
Right.
It's just more buildings. When you add rocks that are man-made, beautiful as they may be, it's not the same as trees actually growing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a massive shift in the thinking if this is the direction they go. And it's a shift that takes them away from the bedrock of what made Disney parks the kind of place you go and you fall in love with it. You don't just enjoy it. It's a place that calls to you
Mm-hmm.
when you've experienced it the way we have. Maybe not everybody has that same feeling, but I don't think something like this would be able to evoke that feeling in somebody. There might be, memories made. There might be, oh, we had such fun on there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not going to have that same tug at your heart the way Disneyland, the Magic Kingdom, Disneyland Paris, the castle parks in particular, because they are built around areas of theme.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start breaking that down and putting anthropomorphic cars into a frontier land, regardless of what the terrain looks like, you're shattering that theme for a trend, a
True.
popularity contest, if you will.
I mean, I could not imagine that. No, because
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like everything that you said, right? You walk around the rivers of America, and it's like the music, looking at the water, and then the Mark Twain going around, and just there's this whole. I can't even describe the feeling that. I mean, obviously we're there how many times a month, but there's nothing like it. So I couldn't imagine something like a Cars land kind of
Right
fitting
there.
into that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, or taking over our
Yeah,
rivers.
no,
Yeah,
it
that
seems
would
very
be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To say I'm flummoxed by the decision
Flummoxed.
is an understatement. It just because the rumor broke yesterday, I think, and I was like, if they do this is the worst decision ever by Imagineering. And people were saying, are you crazy? I don't know, blah blah. And I said, I don't think they'll do something this drastic.
Well,
That's
they
why I
did.
said, if true.
And then today.
Then today they released the concept art that puts it right there, and it was like a gut punch. I was like, "Is this real?" I had to go back. I had to click on it to make sure it wasn't a phony Twitter account that was masquerading as Disney Parks. That's how bad of a decision. I was like, "Wait a minute, this is somebody who's capitalizing on it, and they are trolling everybody, and it's epic, and I love it." But no,
It was real.
It's real.
Well, it's unfortunate,
I know.
but there's nothing we can do.
Yeah, this one is something that if they go through with this,
Who knows? They haven't done anything yet, but maybe they get enough feedback
that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping
or
that
not enough.
because I'm seeing accounts on Twitter that are normally gung ho about any change, and they're like, I don't know about this one. Are they sure that this is what they want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's kind of like, if they're losing some of these ardent fans that are always on board with whatever Disney wants to do, and always optimistic
Something's
about
wrong.
it.
Yeah.
If you're getting some of these people to question, maybe it's time to take a step back, reassess, and maybe talk to people a little bit.
Yeah.
Not saying that the fans are always right, but like I
Right.
said, this isn't a don't take away my riverboat thing. This is you're breaking down one of the fundamental pillars of your business model,
Right.
basically. So it's more than just hey, I like the riverboat, or hey, don't touch Tom Sawyer Island. Because I mean, I was worried when they did Galaxy's Edge and they were truncating the rivers in Disneyland. I was like, oh my God, what are they doing? Are they sure about this? This is crazy. And then they did it with such care and such excellence that I was okay with it.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
we still had the rivers.
Right. We didn't get rid of them.
I don't think there is anything that I would be willing to trade Rivers of America for.
No, even in Disneyland Paris, the rivers. It's the rivers. It's awesome, and you've got, instead of Tom Sawyer's Island, you've got actually Big Thunder
Right.
on the island, which is really cool because it goes underneath the river. But yeah, you see that iconic Mark Twain going around. It's amazing. So. Well, we do have one other ride, or two other rides we didn't talk about.
Oh, that's right. I totally missed those because, oops.
That's okay.
So we don't have the concept art for you guys, but
And Mitch, I know you were bringing this up in the chat earlier. He's like, "Wait, we got another one
Yeah,
in DCA," and we do. We have Avengers Infinity Defense, and we have Stark Flight Lab. So it's going to be two rides going into Avengers Campus, right off to the side, of where
the Quinjet is.
Quinjet is, right? Mm-hmm. And it's going to be in the back area. It looks like they're kind of combining the buildings there for the rides. Well, not combining, but it's going to be one big, large building in the back.
Oh yeah, both of these rides will be housed in the same building, basically.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I know that you and I talked about it briefly. The Stark Flight Lab, while it looks cool, is nothing really new to me. With the robotic arm.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about it with Casual Junior, and I was like, it looks like the ride that they had at Legoland, just the KUKA arm. And then I'm like, Forbidden Journey has been using the KUKA arm moving through sets and, an amazing attraction for years. So this is kind of like, okay, we needed to add capacity somehow.
And there we have. There we go. We had a picture right there.
Look at you guys go, our producers.
Yes, producers are amazing. That's awesome. Good job.
So finally, did they give us a date on this one?
No.
No?
No, I don't believe we got it. It's just, I think they're breaking construction in 2025. That's what it was, but nothing other than that.
Nothing definite.
But it'll be interesting to see. I know that they brought out the ride vehicle at D23, and a lot of people are like, "Whoa, hey, this is 1998 Spider-Man's vehicle over at Universal Islands Adventure or Transformers ride." It looks very similar to that, but they haven't really announced if it's going to be on a track or if it's trackless. Hey, who knows? Maybe it's on the hollow tiles. Just
again, to me, it's like I'm not so worried about the ride system per se. The Stark Lab thing, it's because, we've seen this done and you're not plussing it. This, they could say, you've been on Spider-Man. We're gonna take Spider-Man, 3 levels up, and you're gonna be wowed even more.
Well,
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt for that, but.
Well, I don't know. I mean, originally he said, "Hey, you're going to be on the Quinjet. It's going to be a Quinjet ride." Then they said, "Oh, we're going to actually just put you on a ride vehicle and you're going to be able to shoot things. Great." And now they're like, "Oh, you're just going to be in the ride vehicle going." So it's like, wait a minute. Now we're just getting the same type of screen ride we've gotten before. So, and again, it's changed over the years, right? And that's what happens sometimes. They make these D23 announcements and it sounds fantastical, and you're like, "Yeah, I can't wait." And then they're like, "Wait, you're saying that Pride Rock is not going to be a water flume now? It's going to be a what? Dark ride? Oh, okay." So you never know what's going to happen with these rides. I mean, and it's great hearing all these announcements. The problem that Disney has is that they need to make sure that whatever they announce, they stick with it and it stays that way. Now, I know things can change, and based on people's feedback too. But the problem is they have a history of announcing things and then not doing them, or announcing them and then completely changing them from what they told us it was going to be.
Right.
So that's the only other issue.
Yeah.
So.
But they get the buzz going.
Yeah, that's
true. And everybody keeps saying, that Josh D'Amaro reiterated, this is shovels in the ground. Everything is under active development.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm glad you brought that up.
That's the verbiage they use this time. And I put active development one step past, blue sky.
Blue sky.
Because lots of movies are in development. Very few actually get made. Same thing here, guys. I would love for it to be a fantastic and we get everything that they show us, but I have a feeling we're going to be looking at things reeled back, some things, pushed out years and years to the point to where it's like, okay, well, we can't do that one anymore.
Right.
And I think we're just going to have to live with that and understand that, these are not small decisions that they have to make, because it is literally millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars that they're pouring into each of these attractions, not just all of the announcements together. Each attraction is in the hundreds of millions. And these are nearly permanent types of decisions. These are the kinds of things that, okay, we made the decision, we got to go with it, and it's got to stick for 10 to 15 years minimum. They're actually probably looking at, this thing's got to be around for 30 years. So you can imagine what kind of pressure comes with that, to make sure that what you're doing is as good as you can do it, which current track record on some of their decisions makes me kind of glad that we didn't get a lot announced for Disneyland.
For right now, yeah.
Okay, yeah, and it's funny, if I can bring this up real quick. So I actually did my predictions with Danny and Cordy on what I thought was going to happen at D23 and the announcements they were going to make. And excuse me, I had them up, and I'm sorry. Give me 1 second here. All right. While I'm looking for those, should we start off with a Q&A?
Yeah, we could. We could do that.
For these.
All right. So now we are in the chat here. If you guys, you've probably been asking questions throughout, but if you want to ask them again, please feel free to do so in the chat now, and we'll start our Q&A. You know what's, I don't know, I'm having random thoughts, but just thinking of, because I love Galaxy's Edge. Like I love Star Wars, and and just walking through, right, and getting the feel for it. But I don't spend a whole lot of time there because you got Rise, and you're like, well, I'll wait till after fire. We all kind of have our plans. But poor, I just call it Millennium Falcon. But it's so beautiful. Like you go in there, you're walking through, you're like, okay, now I'm on it, and it just like getting to the actual ride is so spectacular. And I'm not saying it's not a great ride, because I always laugh. It's always fun when you're on it, because you never know who's going to pilot it. But I don't know if adding new scenes,
right?
How you're like,
doesn't move the needle much.
I think what made me think of it was when you were talking about how much money is spent, and like, oh gosh, like how much money was spent on that, and as grand as it looks, from the outside, and as you go through the queue, you're like,
yeah,
you just don't want to have that, continue to happen.
Exactly. All right, I did find my predictions, everyone. So basically, and by the way, GV559, I'm going to answer your question here in a moment. But so my predictions were originally that they were going to say something about the Walt Disney animatronic. I got that correct. Disneyland 70th anniversary. I got that correct. I did say that they were going to do a night parade at Disneyland, and I said that Paint the Night was coming back. Well, it turns out it was a parade at Walt Disney World, and it was not Paint the Night. I did say that they were going to announce Fortnite or Disney Fortnite. Sorry, Disney on Fortnite, and they did. I also talked about a new parking structure, but they didn't mention that, and come to think of it, I don't think they would have. That was just a wild one for me. They did talk about the Avengers ride details, and it's 1 or 2 rides, not just one. I said they were going to talk about the Avatar Land, the concept, and show a model or the concept art, and they didn't show it until the next day at the D23. I also talked about the Tomorrowland remodel and the People Mover coming back. Well, this was a big topic for me because GV59 says, why didn't they say anything about the Tomorrowland? Well, everyone thought they were going to talk about Tomorrowland. Even Braden from Mickey Views thought they were going to talk about Tomorrowland. Everyone was shocked because even my source said they're going to talk about Tomorrowland, and the big ride they're probably going to be back, from what I'm hearing, is People Mover. Well, they didn't announce anything. So we're shocked too. We can't believe that they actually didn't talk about Tomorrowland. So who knows? Maybe that's a future, thing.
Again, it could be part of the 70th that they start doing
Yeah,
stuff like
true.
that.
Right.
So,
Could be.
Izzo asks, is there any hope for your People Mover? We always have hope, man.
We always
We
have
always
hope.
have hope. Those tracks are still
Yes.
there.
My
As long as
prediction.
those tracks
As
are
long as
there.
those
Yes.
tracks are there, we've
Well, the
got
thing
hope.
is, though, remember, even though the tracks are still there, well, the track's not there for People Mover anymore
Right.
because
Yeah.
it's got rocket rods.
The support.
Yeah,
system.
true.
The support's there. There we go. All right. What other questions?
Tim
do you have?
Schindler asks, what excited you the most and what disappointed you from what was announced? Excited the most, I would say probably the Villain's Land. I'm curious about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I say the same thing with Dark Universe as I would with this. If they do it right, it could be an absolute home run.
Right.
But getting it right, that's the part. I've mentioned it about Epic Universe. They got to stick the landing now.
Yeah.
Right.
They've got us hyped, but if it falls flat and things are broken, constantly out of the gate, and it just limps along for the first few months, but if they stick the landing and it does well, then it's going to be great. Amusement Park Pirates asks, when is Disneyland going to put the reservation system away?
Never.
We have no idea, probably never, especially for Magic Keys. That is probably going to stick forever. And, you might get, hotel guests who don't need to make a reservation and they can possibly, just walk into the park if they have a ticket. But, yeah, Magic Keys, they're going to regulate us as much as they can. I wouldn't be surprised if Magic Keys go up tremendously. Possibly to the 2,000 range, like I think we were talking about.
Yep. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing two things. It's going to be either 2,000 or 1,800 for the Inspire Pass.
So next year.
This October.
This year, in October.
October
Oh,
is
good.
usually
So
when they
I renew in
re-release
like
it.
a week.
Oh,
You're lucky.
Oh,
I'm November,
geez,
so
wow.
I'll
Okay,
get you
so
just wrong.
actually this year you think it's
I'm guessing, yeah, October
A
they'll
big
probably
price
re-release
increase? Wow.
Magic Keys so people can purchase for the holidays, and then shut it down a few weeks. But I think they're going to bump prices.
let's see.
Yeah, we were all hoping for a Tomorrowland, but it could still be for the 70th. I'm not giving up on it because it needs it. My goodness.
Yeah, it definitely does. I don't see any other.
Mitch says they may mention it at next year's Comic-Con. It'd be an interesting place to mention it.
Comic-Con.
Mitch
Well-
actually rode Rise of the Resistance for the first time
Oh,
last weekend. Yeah.
nice.
I saw his comment in there.
Yeah, I
but
saw that. Oh my God,
yeah.
it was awesome. Yeah, I didn't know it was his first time on there.
Mm-hmm.
The Comic-Con thing is interesting, only because depending on what they're doing with Tomorrowland, because you got Fantastic Four coming out, and Fantastic Four is a mid-century modern aesthetic. So if they use that as a springboard for Tomorrowland, it could make sense to announce it at Comic-Con. But
Interesting.
that puts us at least another near year
Yeah.
away from the announcement. Never mind actual movement on it.
I hope we get it for the 70th.
Yeah.
I think we deserve.
Well, I would have hoped that they would open it for the 70th.
But
Yeah.
well,
Well,
Be
yeah,
done for
yeah.
the 70th, but
75th.
there we go. Big 70th announcement. It's
We'll
coming out
be
for the
there,
70th.
there, Kate.
There we go.
We made it.
one hand on the cane, one hand on the gimmick.
Exactly.
Well, I don't see any other comment or questions.
Anything else you guys want to talk about? One thing I do want to bring up, congratulations to Tony Baxter and Joe Rohde. Well-deserved becoming Disney legends. But Josh Gad was named a Disney legend last year.
Yeah.
Before Tony Baxter
Baxter.
and Joe Rohde.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know.
As much as I you know, honestly, if they tried to honor me with the Disney Legends Award for whatever reason, I'd be like,
You need to honor
thanks.
them first.
Like, thanks.
I know. But since we didn't talk about it in great detail, if you have Disney Plus, they are streaming the Disney Legends panel, and you can watch that, I think, starting tonight, is it? Or
I think so,
today?
probably.
Yeah, so if you haven't had a chance to see that, you can catch it on Disney Plus.
And looking at the Twitter feeds and stuff like that regarding the Legends thing that they did at Honda Center, it looked fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
It looked amazing.
Yeah.
And if you want to see the cavalcade, I had a good spot on D23 Day.
There
so.
you go. Oh, that's right. D23
Yeah. That's
Day.
right.
That,
Yeah.
I
At
didn't
the
get to go
park.
there. You got the ears, right?
I
Got the
did.
free ears.
16-hour stream.
16
that's
hours?
right. You were
Straight?
saying that's right. You were saying, "Oh, I don't know how long I'm going to be here," and then I'm like, at like 9 o'clock, I'm like, "You're
Yeah.
still streaming."
Well, then you're like, well, now we got to stay. We got
I
fantastic.
thought I was pretty good, doing a 14-hour stream in one day. Wow. Okay,
Mrs.
well, never
Casual
mind.
does not get it when I do. She's
Or
just
15
like,
hour.
I thought you said you were going to, come home. Well, I did kind of come home early. I wanted to stay till.
I know.
and
I
it's like,
know. It's
yeah.
Streamers
a
and their
thing.
spouses.
It's a thing.
I don't know. I've been to Disneyland hundreds of times. It's a struggle every time when I have to leave.
I know.
It
No
really
matter
is.
what.
It really is.
It's one of those things where it's like I just don't want to go.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I want to stay. One more ride. Just one more ride.
Okay.
That's all I want. One more ride.
Oh, I feel the same way sometimes. So
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's. Yeah.
oh, I don't see any more questions in the chat at the moment. And I know we didn't talk about.
Yes, Tony Baxter was in
Yep.
the cavalcade. Just answer that
Yeah.
real
If
quick.
you watch, because I had that spot. Oh, we had the shade. It was glorious, right there on the corner, right before they, go backstage.
Oh, right there.
So
yes, yeah.
there was the car, and then there was the omnibus. So
That's great.
yeah, it was pretty cool. Very cool.
Anybody else? Anybody?
I don't see anything else. Oh, wait, doesn't YouTube take your money if your stream is over 8 hours? No, Mitch, they don't.
No.
But it used to be you could only do a 6-hour stream and you couldn't edit anything after 6 hours. It's now 12 hours, which is awesome. Did you stream 16 straight though?
Well, I did.
You broke it up.
Yeah, I had to
There you
start
go.
a
All
new
right, no
one.
problem.
And they had live music. They had a live band at Tomorrowland, Terrace. So it was suburban
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah. I did see, see that.
legend. So that was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I hope they keep
Yeah,
that
the D23
going.
day seemed like it was a pretty good
Mm-hmm.
little offering. As long not a hard ticket event.
No.
So
Right,
that's
right.
what made it great is that everybody was able to
enjoy
And there were
partake.
lots of things. I mean, we might need a whole nother episode for this, but it was kind of cool because you think, oh, you want Disneyland, but they had a lot of cool things going on at DCA. Meet and greets. They had Scarlet Witch was there.
Didn't they have a separate cavalcade there too?
They did.
Yeah. That was very smart. I like
Yeah.
that.
I know. So they tried it to balance it. Lotso meet and greet, but there were a lot of things that people were able to do over on that side. It was
Yeah.
just a little less hectic than it was.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
The
it's
lines
funny
were
because
insane.
the D23 day that they had at the Planter on in Town Square, everybody was like way better than the Pixar one.
Yes.
Poor Pixar.
I know, poor Pixar, but Mom.
Well, don't blame Pixar.
Why?
Pixar.
Well, Pixar that did it.
She's not blaming Pixar. She's saying poor Pixar.
Yeah. They deserve better. Although better together. I think the thing is you just fall in love with the shows, the parades, regardless of if you saw it once or twice, you're like, but then
Yeah, I got to say the Pixar parade, the Better Together, it was genius to do the tag at the end with the
Yes.
performers.
yes.
It was.
That was such a perfect thing to add to the parade. They need to do that every parade. I'm sure, I think they probably will be adding that to most of the parades from here on out
Yeah.
because it gave the cast members who aren't the characters, don't get the big, top line, promotion and cheers necessarily. It gave them their moment to have the crowd
Yes.
cheer for them and let us, see their enthusiasm, their effort put in, and being there for that very last one. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. How just everybody singing, everybody's phones out. They came out to cheer. It was like that's.
If
the
you
way
look
it's
at our
supposed to be.
streams, that's like it was just a sea of like phones up in front of
But it was
everybody.
great.
It was cool.
And for, like I said, for me, it's the cast members who play the supporting roles finally getting recognized and being able to get cheered for specifically for them.
Yeah. Yeah, they did good on that.
Yeah. All right, guys, we are approaching the 2.5 hours of streaming for this episode. But again, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. This was a fun little experiment in the studio. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We did our best. We need to say thank you to our producers, Jack and Zach, for helping us pull this together. This was fantastic. You guys did an amazing job. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. But with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So, Cordy, would you let the folks know where they can find you and when you might be streaming next?
Cordy in California on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and TikTok. When will I be streaming again? I don't know.
Okay, so that leads me to tell you, make sure you're subscribed and the little bell is clicked so that you get notified when Cordy is streaming, because you never know when you might get a spontaneous phantasmic trip.
That's true.
Oh.
That's true.
That is true.
All right, Bob.
So everyone, you can reach me or find me at BarryPlace28 on Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, and YouTube. So there we go. And then I will be streaming next on Thursday night is when I'm going to be streaming next. And possibly, not sure yet, but possibly on Saturday at the park. We'll see. Not sure about that one. But again, if you're subscribed to the channel, then you'll get the notification if we do go live on Saturday. But definitely come hang out with us on Thursday night.
All right, and you can find me on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, all of them at Theme Park Casual. I will be at Disneyland probably alongside Bob on Thursday, depending on what you plan to do. We may run into each other. And then possibly again on Saturday. I think I'll be aiming for a rope drop on Saturday.
Oh, and
So-
before I forget, I kind of wanted to say congratulations to Danny. 4,000, and he has hit 2 years of streaming. So
Yes, 2
congratulations
years
to
of
you,
streaming.
and thank you to everyone
Thank
who's
you.
subscribed to all of our channels, especially Danny's. He was able to hit 4,000 on his 2-year live
That's
stream
awesome.
anniversary. It was awesome. So.
Yeah, and so we to celebrate 4,000, we're planning to do a ride marathon, but I'm trying to see if I can get a whole day. Otherwise, we may do a mini marathon because everybody voted for Rise of the Resistance, and if I show up at 6 p.m., we'll maybe get 3 rides on it, and
Yeah.
So I'd like to, if I can get there early, we'll do a whole day and see how many times it breaks down on us.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get multi-experiences.
Exactly. Maybe we'll get to see some BTS
Yeah.
footage, possibly. So, again, thank you guys so much for joining us. Again, hopefully we'll be able to be back in the studio sometime. This was fun being able to hang out IRL
Yeah.
with you guys to talk. So, until next time, we'll be back in 2 weeks for Park Streamers Hangout. Until then, guys, have a great night.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.